Hello, I'm going to be showing you how to install Windows 95 OSR 2.5 on a Dell Inspiron 2650 laptop and get it fully working as well. Pretty amazing stuff considering this model laptop was even meant to run Windows 98. Anyhow, let's go ahead and get started. Fun fact about the Windows 95 CDs, they aren't self-bootable. So you're going to have to boot up your computer in some fashion. I happen to have a Windows Millennium boot floppy disk laying around, so for the sake of variety, we'll go ahead and use that. Go ahead and start it up. Get you a little closer here. Let this floppy disk take its sweet time loading up. So we'll just start it without CD-ROM support. I have all the Windows 95 installation files copied over to the hard drive. If you're installing it off a CD, you would obviously want to start it with CD-ROM support. You can also use a Windows 98 installation CD to boot up the computer if you want. That's typically how I would do it, but yeah, I just felt like using a floppy disk. This laptop has a floppy drive, why not, right? It'll probably also be quicker if you use a CD. Cool. So I'm going to go to the directory where I have the setup saved. Bear with me, I'm only typing with one hand here. Kind of in an awkward position. Okay, go ahead and run the setup. And we're going to just skip that warning there, it doesn't really matter. Okay. So with the Windows 95 setup, there's definitely a lot of things you need to watch out for. Unlike the 98 one, where you just had to use a certain setup switch to get it to install correctly. So just be forewarned. I have all the steps I used detailed in my blog post. Okay, we're going to pop this back, so C drive / Windows. You're probably not going to have to worry about this. Alright, let me pause it while I put this in. Alright, we're back. I got the key put in. Name this Windows 95 laptop. Boomer Electronics Company. Next. Okay, so here's the first thing you're going to want to watch out for. If you just go ahead and do the yes option, from my experience, the setup's going to lock up from that during the hardware detection. So to get around that, I found that disabling these four. Let me check my notes, sorry. What did I disable? I disabled sounds, SCSI controllers, PCMCIA. Actually didn't disable ports, I disabled network adapter. Because we do want to catch the parallel port on this laptop. But if you disable all these, you're not going to have the setup lock up here. And plus the stuff that we unchecked, we're going to install via driver later on, so it doesn't really matter. It's yeah, don't really want Windows 95 installing any garbage drivers for a laptop that came out several years after Windows 95. Okay. Alright, cool. And I'll just go ahead and do my usual selections here. Oh, oops, no, I don't. Yeah, no, that's right. Yep, just go ahead and continue. This is fine. If you want, you can change the monitor to laptop 1024 by 768 since that is what we're using, but honestly probably doesn't matter. Nope, we do not want to start up disk, and we will start copying. Should not take too long at all. It's pretty quick if you're installing off a hard drive. I'm also using a one of those devices where you plug an SD card into it, and just basically turns your SD card into a hard drive. Pretty handy. I'm thinking about getting another one actually. It seems like a much better idea than fiddling around with old IDE laptop hard drives. So one of my laptops does have a working IDE laptop hard drive. It's very loud. But anyhow, let's carry on. Okay, so here it's going to reboot. So here's where you're going to see another issue. Go ahead and remove that like it requests. So I mentioned in the blog you need a utility Fix95 CPU. You use that utility to make either a bootable floppy or CD. This is what will happen if you don't use that utility here. I'm just doing this for demonstration purposes. Normally I'd have this in my CD drive. So this is the error you're going to encounter. Let's see if we can get the focus up here a little better. While initializing device iOS Windows protection error, you need to restart your computer. You're not going to be able to get around this error on this laptop if you restart. So you need that utility I mentioned, the Fix95 CPU. Links are available on the website to download it. So I have it already burned onto a CDRW here. So I'm just going to pop that in and restart the computer and let it boot off that. Utility is pretty straightforward to use. Yeah, press any key to continue. Okay. View the README file. We don't really need to bother. Ready to install Windows 95 high-speed processor support. Press any key to continue. Sure thing. Yep, and we're done. Press any key to restart your computer, then remove this disk. No problem. There we go. And now the setup will continue. I'm looking over my notes, seeing if I can go ahead and pause it. Okay, and yeah, that's because of what just happened. We can just go ahead and go to normal here. Okay, it looks like we're not going to run into any other issues until Windows 95 is fully installed, so I'm just going to pause it. I'll be back after the installation's finished. Alright, setup's done. Internet Explorer 4 is fully installed now. Got all these useful little buttons over here. These are just great. Anyhow, go ahead and go through the driver installations here. I have links to download all these drivers on my website. Okay, so in my instructions, which I'm reviewing that I typed up here, it looks like I installed the Intel chipset driver first, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. I already have all the drivers saved onto the hard drive ahead of time to make my life simpler. So just run the setup package here. Yep, nothing really to this, just go through the prompts, let it install. Yep, restart. I believe it's going to, actually, yeah, I know it's going to update several devices and then reboot again. Shouldn't take too long. This laptop kind of rips through Windows 95, not surprisingly. Turns out a Pentium 4 and Windows 95 is kind of overkill. Who would have thought? Yep, so just let it go through this here. Alright, looks like it wants to reboot. Go ahead and do that. Alright, should finish up here now. Alright, and we're back. So next it looks like I say to install the card bus audio and Ethernet drivers in any order, so I will go ahead and do that. I usually just install these through Device Manager, like so. They should all be under other devices, and they are. Grab the card bus driver. I was very surprised I could find this driver. I was not expecting this driver to exist for 95, but it did, which is pretty cool. Yep. There's the 95 one here. And then Windows 95 has this cool quirk where you have to manually go back to the folder each time you try to install a driver, which is pretty funny. And now I want something from Windows Windows 95 setup, so we gotta go navigate to the cabs folder, I believe. Yep, there it is. If you have this on a CD, you can just use the CD as well. Alright, so we got the card bus driver installed. Go ahead and do we'll do the Ethernet one last. We'll do the audio one for now. Update the driver. Other locations. This is actually a hack driver. So it's loading in a driver for a Realtek AC97. That's not what this card is. This is a Sigmatel card, but this works, so we're using it. There is no known driver for the Sigmatel. I believe it's the 9700, the Stack 9700, I believe. There's no known working driver for that that'll work in 95. Alright. Then I believe our audio should work once this is finished installing here. And here's proof. Yep, got working audio. Awesome. Okay, now we'll go ahead and do the Ethernet one. It's going to want to reboot after this, which is why I did it last out of the 3. I'll just go ahead and reboot it when it asks. Same driver I used for 98 works on this. And we gotta go back to that driver folder. He definitely had some kinks to work out back then. And this file is actually in here, it's just named a little differently. It picks it up if you just go back to the directory though. Yeah, whatever. We're gonna nuke this stuff anyway, so that doesn't matter. Alright, now we gotta, oh my goodness. Yeah, gotta go back. Gotta go back to the Windows options cabs in my case. I always like to keep the newer files. And we'll go ahead and reboot. Got that classic shutdown sound. Okay. So, yeah, whatever, just cancel. And if you're interested in getting your Windows 95 on the internet, may as well go through this while we're doing the video. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the Microsoft networks and networks. These aren't really being used. If you want this on the internet, you're going to add the TCP/IP protocol, which is found under Microsoft here, TCP/IP. And yeah, I've already tested this before. This should get you online if you just plug in, which is pretty cool. Start romping around online on Windows 95. Why not? Figured I'd just go over that. Yeah, I'm not plugged in, so it's complaining here. And no, I don't want to see those messages in the future. I'll just reboot it again, whatever. This video is obviously going to be fairly lengthy. Well, in my notes next I say to install the display driver. I'm probably going to edit this post a little bit. So before doing that, I'm actually going to install DirectX. And usually when I install DirectX, I go ahead and update Internet Explorer as well. So I'm going to just go ahead and pause the video and do that off camera. I already have the packages here. So I will be back when those are both installed. Alright, and we are back. DirectX has been updated and Internet Explorer 5.5 with Service Pack 2 is now installed. I've just been kind of making a habit to get DirectX updated before I do the graphics drivers and these older Windows versions here. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and update the graphics driver now. So I have a whole section in my blog going over the graphics drivers. None of the three are fully supported in Windows 95. The driver themselves do work, but some of the functionality doesn't work with them, unfortunately. But I mean, yeah, you're just gonna have to deal with it. So I've been using the Dell driver in Windows 95 because it seems to offer the most functionality of the three. The Foursquare one's the control panel is just completely gone. You can't access it whatsoever. At least parts of the control panel are accessible in the Dell driver, so that's what I've been using lately in Windows 95 at least. So go ahead and let that one install. Yeah, of course, you know. How could I forget? We have to direct it to the folder we were just in. Of course. Awesome. Okay, let it install here. Go ahead and reboot. Should look much nicer now. And it does. And yeah, here we go. So I got my cat showing off here. So here we go. Here's some of the errors I'm talking about. With the Dell driver, the NV service here does not work. And my cat's just causing a ruckus. Cool. Can't have a video without the cats interfering. Anyhow, I think we're already in the resolution I want. Yeah. Switch that to 32-bit. Cool. Good. Yeah, so got distracted with the cat. So to prevent that error from occurring every time you start up, process is similar for no matter which driver you use. You're going to need to open up regedit. I have the keys you need to navigate to in my blog post. So for the Dell one, where am I? Oh yeah, it's under graphics driver discussion. Bear with me here. Just get into the instructions I need. Okay. So for the Dell drivers, it's H key local machine, software, Microsoft. Go down the Windows here, current version. For the Dell ones, we go to run services, and you're just gonna have to get rid of this. We don't use that service. If you're using one of the Forceware drivers, you just go to run, and what you need to get rid of would be under here. So that'll stop that error from occurring. But we do get some type of control panel functionality. You might have noticed we got these tabs up top. You won't get anything like this if you install the Forceware drivers. And then you get the additional properties here, which gives you a few options, which is cool. I did notice when I was messing around with this before, if you do this, if you enable this, you just get an error. So like I said, these aren't 100% compatible with Windows 95, but they're good enough. Good enough. Alright, so carrying on, we have the graphics driver installed. Where am I in my instructions here? Okay, so next I install the USB drivers. We'll go ahead and do that. So I'm going to mention that I do not, so for Windows 95, there's a package that's probably considered the standard, I'm guessing. It's titled XUSB Supplement, XUSB SUPP. I used that one originally, and the laptop would not shut down after that. Windows would just basically hang while shutting down or rebooting. And I narrowed it down to one of the drivers that package was installing. So I have decided to forego using that package, and I do the steps that I've outlined here instead. So that's just kind of some background on why this might look kind of weird what I'm doing. So to use this to use the package. By the way, I'm basically using the package Microsoft provided back in the day. So to start off, basically remove everything under other devices, especially the USB stuff, universal serial bus stuff there. We're going to do this before we run the installation. Okay, so we should be good to install the USB supplement package now. This is kind of a two-step process here. So step one, install the USB supplement package, which is right here. Yep, go ahead and install that. Does a scan disk here. Shouldn't take too long. I'll go ahead and pause it though. I'll be back when that's done. Alright, the scan disk is done. So it's just, ask me about some files to copy. I always generally keep the newer file. So, yep, sub will now restart your system and complete setup. Alright, cool. I reboot. So that is step one. After that, we are going to have to install the RL USB mass storage driver. And this is one of the rare cases where you prefer to have USB 1.1, which this laptop does, somewhat surprisingly, because it makes this process a little simpler. Windows 95 does not support USB 2.0, and there are extra steps you have to take if your ports are USB 2.0. Since our ports are not USB 2.0, we get to skip a lot of steps. Yeah, just go ahead and find the drivers that we just installed. Okay, and then I also noted this in the post, so you need to browse to C drive Windows system to find this file it's looking for. I believe I just found that by browsing around and getting lucky, just so just to save yourself some time, right? There you go. Yeah, so one of the drivers, that XUSB supplement package installs here, causes that issue that prevents Windows from shutting down fully. So yeah, and this is the modem. We'll get to that in a second. Let it finish installing here. Oh jeez. I haven't seen that error before. That's definitely related to the NVIDIA stuff though. Oh, I know why. It's because I left this option on. Right. Let me just make sure. Yeah, when I was showing this, I think I left it on. No, I didn't. Well, why is that? Why are we getting that error then? Yeah, I gotta figure this out on the fly here. What's going on? I swear every time I try to make one of these videos, I run into some error I've never seen before. Just the nature of working with these ancient operating systems, I guess. Current version. And I guess when I enabled that before, it put a registry entries for it, so I'm just getting rid of it. We'll see if that works when I reboot again. Make sure we don't have that service running. We don't. Okay, we should be good now. I don't feel like starting the video over because of that, so I won't. Let's see. So finishing the USB installation process, we need to install the mass storage driver. So we're going to copy this hotplug.exe file into the startup folder. Where is the startup folder? Oh, look, I put it in my notes here. How helpful. So C drive, Windows, start menu. Oh, where is it? Oh, there, I'm blind, sorry. Programs, then startup, then we can just paste it in here. Alright, so now that'll start up when the computer starts up. Okay, so that's the first part of that. And then I believe we just plug in a USB stick and point it to that RL USB folder when it asks for a driver. And just verify that. Oh, I have to reboot first. Yeah, I think I do. Well, I can't. Okay, here it is. Jeez. Okay, put it in your startup folder. Reboot after doing this. Okay, so now we reboot since it's in our startup folder. Bear with me, folks. Bear with me. This video is going on quite a while. The joys of installing Windows 95. And we also get to see if that NVIDIA errors resolved now. It should be. I guess the lesson is don't click that thing. Don't enable that thing I tried to enable. Yeah, looks like we're not getting that error anymore, which is cool. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and plug the flash drive into the back here. We're going to have to do this for each port in Windows 95, so we need the mass storage driver installed for each port, basically. Okay, it detects it. Point it to that folder I mentioned. This one. Oh yeah, point it to that folder again. Once is never enough for Windows 95. I don't recall ever seeing this. What'd I do? What'd I do wrong? Let me try the other port. I don't know what's going on. Hey, jeez, man. Nothing? Oh, I did not like that. Try this port. Reboot and try it again. We'll try to figure that one out. Hopefully that was just a fluke. Yeah, it turns out the Windows 9X platform wasn't the most stable thing in the world. Alright, boot it up here. Let's put this in again and hope that doesn't happen again. Okay. Reboot, insert. Okay. I'm just like reading over my instructions, making sure I didn't mess up. Oh, did it? Wait, I didn't see it. It must have installed it while I was looking away, huh? Yeah, it looks like it did. The US mass storage drive, yeah. Okay. So we good? Yeah, looks like we're good. Let me do that for the other port now. Oh my goodness, Windows 95, man. Alright, trying to plug this into the second port. Where am I? There it goes. Okay, same deal. Okay, try to install that mass storage driver for this port now. I know it's very confusing, Windows, but let's go back to that folder. Okay, looks like I installed it in this port fine. Yeah, don't ask me about that that error. That was pretty weird. Alright, yep, so it should be good. And then just to triple check, I'll go ahead and put it back in the first port now and make sure it just pops up without an issue. Okay. So this port, it should just work now. Shouldn't have to install anything. Yep, popped up here. Looks like it's good. Cool. So we'll just consider that error to be a fluke. Unplug that. Get it out of here. Alright, cool. So now we got USB support, at least for storage stuff. Okay, the only thing left here is the modem. If you're following along, I'm guessing you have the original Connexent D480 modem installed. If that's the case, you're probably not going to be able to find drivers for it that work under Windows 9X. I looked quite a bit, I couldn't find any. I would suggest not wasting any time and just disabling it. I also have notes in the blog post of a replacement modem that will work. That's actually what I have in this system, is the replacement. Cost $7 on eBay, so I figured, you know, why not? But yeah, just kind of a little bit of background on that. And lastly, you can just install the touchpad drivers. Just make sure I have everything here: audio, car bus, chipset, graphics, LAN, USB. Yep, touchpad. I mean, for all intents and purposes, this can be considered optional, but I'm just being thorough here. And yeah, pretty simple stuff. I'm not gonna bother rebooting and going on any further with the video. I mean, that's pretty much everything. Yeah, that's how to install Windows 95 OSR 2.5 on a Dell Inspiron 2650 laptop. I mean, I was pretty surprised it could be done myself, considering this thing doesn't even have Windows 98 support, but it can, and it's more or less fully functioning, which is pretty cool. Yeah, if you got any questions about anything that I've done, or maybe you're having issues, then let me know in the comments. Take care.